what all of the memories are about that night, not necessarily how you remember them and in what order. I want to first go through what the collection of memories is
That I have from that night.
right now, and then we'll go back to later to see in what order things popped into your mind and when. And so
Okay.
forth. Yeah. Okay. So right now, what's the what is your memory of that particular night? I mean, you were driving a truck from Brooklyn.
Into Manhattan. I
Into
was
Manhattan.
going back to do my last run for the New York Post.
Yeah.
I think, see, it's really hard. 12 years is a long time.
Sure.
But I could have been doing my last piece, which is a run up 2nd Avenue, which the presses go off about 4 o'clock, and you back in and do it.
Mm-hmm.
And early in the evening, I probably did a run probably to New Jersey or uptown. I think what I was doing in Brooklyn, my boss's cousin lived there, and he asked me to take him home in between runs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how I
Yeah.
ended up that way, because I normally don't go to Brooklyn. I'm normally going somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And what came back to me was when I read, like I said, The Woman on the Bridge. And basically, what amazes me is that her recollection was just like mine. I'm pretty analytical. And it didn't frighten me. I was just trying to explain everything I saw away.
Yeah.
At first, I thought it was floodlights of an opening of a movie or something.
Now, where did you see that?
I was on the Manhattan Bridge.
Yeah.
I brought
Mhm.
the car died. The truck died out.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was driving an Iveco truck, and my first thoughts were, "Uh-oh, I'm gonna get stuck on the bridge. I better put my flashes on. I'm not gonna walk off the bridge. I better put my flashes on." And went to put the flashes on. The flashes didn't work, and I thought that was funny. And I said to myself, "Wow, I bet you somebody's gonna pile into me really bad." And I looked in my side view mirror, and I saw all the traffic slowing down and the lights going out. And I'm sure I said to myself, "Ooh, that's weird." And then I can remember the light. The light that drew your attention to it. It was something that was compelling. You couldn't look away from it, actually. And I noticed it. I first noticed it was oblong shape, like it was searching on a building like searchlights normally do, and it was moving around a little bit. I think it moved down to the street and came up, went alongside of the building. And like I said to myself, "Gee, it looks like they're opening up a movie or something." And then I said, no, the light source is coming level with that height that it's at, and it's up there high. It's all the way up on the top floors. So I
Did
couldn't
it have a
believe-
color, this light?
Yeah, it was blue, white. What really amazed me was that I'm not sure the technical word, but when the light went from being big to small, it went from being more of a spotlight down to a narrow beam.
Mm-hmm.
And after I said to myself, well, it's not a spotlight from an opening of a theater. Maybe it's very powerful. I could tell it's very powerful. Maybe it's coming from the Brooklyn Navy Yard. They're testing some new laser. But why would they do that? Aren't they afraid of hurting somebody in New York? I mean, it's not dangerous. That's what I said to myself. And then the next thing I recall was the light focusing on one particular window, and it started to get extremely bright. And I remember looking away, and I think, oh, well, gee. I think that's when when I looked away, I caught a glimpse in my side view mirror of all the people that are out of their cars on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what shook me up, like what I read. The people were very, very much in shock. They were really flipping out. They basically didn't know how to deal with what they were seeing. And as I said, I was trying to analyze everything I saw and being amazed by the technical magic that I was viewing. And after the light got really bright and I looked away and noticed all the people on the bridge, I looked back and still trying to figure out all the time where this light source was coming from. I tried to follow it back like a flashlight beam, but it didn't go back. It didn't go over into Brooklyn, so I knew that was out. And I realized that it was coming a short ways away from where it was focusing. The ship, from what I can recall now, I don't remember too much except that it kind of like absorbed the darkness around it. You couldn't really make it out. The only thing that I do remember seeing was like when after it beamed, the lady and the three terrestrials back on board, they did come out, like I read, where they were spinning as if they were on a trapeze, all of them. And when they got closer to the light source, they straightened out and more or less.
I mean, you
Outstretched.
couldn't see them though.
Yes, I could. When they were going up and they were entering the ship, I remember saying to myself, "Oh, that's it. They're filming a movie. Look, they have them on wires and they're filming a movie, like Peter Pan or
Yeah.
something like that." That's what I figured.
Well, how big did they look from?
They were small. They were
Yeah.
small because I was a distance away, but you could make them out.
Yeah.
Something about the light made everything very clear.
Yeah.
And
Were you just backtrack? I said, were you let's say the middle of the bridge, the Brooklyn side of the bridge?
bridge has its apex.
Yeah,
I was
right.
on coming back down. I was closer to the Manhattan side,
Close
on the
behind.
downside
Yeah.
of the bridge. And at the time, I went over it the other night just to see what would happen. Like I said, I haven't been in the city for a long time. And the lanes that were open were the upper lanes. At the time that this happened, they had the center lanes open with the walkway on top. So you're more or less in a cage going over this bridge
Yeah.
when you're going over it. And got very dark when all the lights went out, which is something else that we could talk about.
When you say the lights, you mean of the cars?
I remember basically all the lights going out. There's a lot that I'd like to have clarified too,
Yeah.
but from what I can remember, basically all the lights are out. In the city, on the bridge. That's what is kind of hard to fathom, that nobody would notice that all the lights went out in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Well, as far as I could see, in my view anyway.
Well, you were looking, since you would have been, you would have been on the uptown, I mean on the
Down ramp, actually, downside of the bridge, coming downside
Yeah.
of the bridge.
I'm not familiar now with the lanes of the bridge, but would you have been on the water, on the south side of the bridge, and there was the one looking down towards
Well,
the Battery Park, or, I mean towards the Battery, or were you?
is this
Or towards the
this
Brooklyn
bridge
Bridge?
lets you out in Chinatown.
Yeah.
If you don't make the right
Yeah,
go off
right.
the ramp, you're going to end out on Bowery. And I was on the ramp side going down.
So you were looking downtown?
Yeah, as far as looking out to the sides, it was rather hard because you had the steel ribbing
Yeah.
on both sides, and then there came the outer lanes.
Yeah.
So you more or less really are backed in, boxed in by these beams, the cross beams of the
Yeah.
bridge. But I was on the
But you were,
downside side.
what would have been, see, again, I'd have to check the bridge, but I'm thinking that if you were coming into Manhattan, you would have been on the north side of the bridge.
You mean the lane
The
itself?
lanes.
See, from what I remember, I was on the left side on the bridge underneath, and that seems strange to me too. But a lot of what I'm recalling is constantly in debate with myself. Like at the time, I knew it was Knickerbocker Village because I've worked at the Post for years, and
Yeah.
I've seen that
It was
building
right there,
thousands
sure,
of
it's
times.
right next door.
And it did come back to me that when the light was traveling around the building, it passed through the courtyard, and the courtyard has a metal gate up around it. It's bent over like this where you really can't
Yeah.
get in. It's made to protect,
Yeah, right.
in case it was stormed by
Yeah.
soldiers. And I remember seeing that, and that I think told me right away that's Knickerbocker Village. But I still couldn't place it. I couldn't place what building it was. That's what was bothering me for so long. I knew I'd seen the light, but I couldn't place what building it was on. I was thinking maybe it's lower in Manhattan.
But
you know,
at the time, though, I mean, when you ultimately put this all together, you realized it was Knickerbocker.
yeah. As soon as I read that,
Yeah.
it all came back
Yeah.
like I was a magnet that fell into a box of nails. It all came flying back
Yeah.
to me. And
Now, how much time would you say elapsed from when your truck stopped
until I started going again.
until you
So the
saw the
last thing I
light?
remember was saying to myself, well, whatever it was amazing, and I'm sure I'll see it in the paper tomorrow or on TV. Everybody saw it. It'll be in the paper, or I'll see it on the 11 o'clock news. That was the last thing I really recall. And then I just said, there's nothing, don't worry about it, and continued on.
So you can't measure the amount of time. I mean,
That'd be very difficult. It wasn't very long.
Yeah.
This happened rather,
well, you know,
rather quickly.
10 seconds is, 1,001, 1,002,
Yeah,
1,003.
I don't think it was longer than 2 minutes because my mind kept going so fast because things kept changing and a lot changed in the time that it was there. There was so many things for me to try and figure out. What was that light? What was it doing there? What building? Why is it up so high? What are those things up there? What is that? Nah, they're making a movie. That's what it is. It was more or less like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of astounded that the lady on the bridge kept her cool. She must be some lady. She really.
She is.
Yeah. Compared to everybody else on the bridge, I'm kind of proud of myself too, because I knew it was not a frightful sight. It was a powerful scene, because you knew that this beam was something that technology that we don't know about yet, and it didn't scare me. It just amazed me. And
Well, did you think UFO at any point?
no, not at all. Never for once thought it was a UFO.
Even though you had some interest in the subject.
Yeah. I never dawned on me that it.
How old were you then?
I was 39.
89. What?
39.
39. Mm-hmm.
And didn't recall at all seeing the ship. All my recollections, like I said, came flying back when I read the book.
Well, but I mean, I'm trying to talk about the recollections now before before how they came back and in what order.
Okay.
But so you're seeing this, and you said you seem to see people going up.
Oh yeah, yeah. When after the light stopped being so bright, more or less, it wasn't as powerful. It was a still powerful light, but it didn't have the intensity. I was able to look at it a little easier, and I remember seeing towards the ship, which I didn't know was a ship. I didn't know what it was. I thought they were just suspended on cables, and they were making a movie or something. I really tried to rationalize it all out, never thinking for the moment, wow, what is, that's what, never phased me, no.
Right.
And put it out of my mind, never thought about it again until I started, well, the dreams, I think, were always there. Not nightmares, just...
Well, let's get to those in a second, but
Okay.
one more thing about this. You see this happen, and then what do you see? I mean, do you see the light move, or does it stay put, or do you not remember?
Oh, yeah, well, like I said, I saw the light basically traveling around.
Yeah.
And it was changing its diameter.
That was early.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I
Yeah,
recall.
and then when you saw them going up, you thought they were on
Well, that
cable.
was towards the very end.
Yeah.
In between, the light traveled around the building. That's how I noticed it was Knickerbocker, and I knew it at the time. And when it focused on that window and got very, very bright, I know I looked away, and that's when I saw the people that weren't handling it too well. And then I looked back, and the light had faded a little bit, and I saw these things going up into the ship. But which I didn't know was a ship at the time. I thought they were just hanging up there because they were making a movie.
Right. And then what did happen once they went up?
Oh, that's the only thing I do remember about the ship. The top of the ship, it looked like molten lava. There was a red and gold glare coming from it, like whipped cream on a chocolate, hot chocolate, except it was red and yellow, and you could tell there was some power in there. Then I think I remember lifting off and going right overhead. That's what I think I remember.
But it lifting off.
Yeah, it just went, lifted off, and
Which direction did it go? Did it go
I
towards
think
you or
it came
towards
right
the other
over
bridge?
my head, right over my head towards the Long Island Sound, which is the Manhattan Bridge is over here, the Brooklyn Bridge is over here, happened right here, more or less up and
Yeah.
down, which is a great way to come and go if they're going to go, because it's a limited vision. When I was up on the bridge, I noticed that between the bridges, it more or less blocks off.
But you actually felt it might have gone over your bridge?
I think I did, yes. I believe I felt something or saw something very dark come up over my head, go over my head. And that's when I said to myself, whatever it is, don't worry about it. You'll see in the paper tomorrow. It's nothing.
Yeah. And then, did you have to start your truck?
Yes.
I mean, the
Turn the
starter?
key to start it, yeah. And started right up.
Did the lights come right back on?
I think, yeah, I don't think I shut them off. I wouldn't have shut them off. I was, no, I
Well, you know, sometimes when your engine dies,
you automatically shut them off.
you shut the lights off and you shut the ignition off, and then you try it again to start it.
No. It died, and I didn't put the lights off. No, the lights stayed on, except they weren't on. And when I turned the engine off again, the lights went on
Mhm.
also. That's what I remember.
And then where did you go?
Then I went back to work.
Back to the post?
Yeah, for the last edition.
Do you think you told anybody anything then?
No, I don't think so.
Do you think it was in your memory then?
Deep.
But I mean, consciously? do you
No,
think you-
no, that's another thing I'm amazed at. The woman who saw it on the bridge, was she on any medication or something to help her bring, not to block
Mhm.
the transmission or the things she was being seen or told? I do have the feeling that it was communicating its thoughts to me or controlling my thoughts. That I do have the feeling that,
What gives you that feeling?
the way I just kept trying to analyze it out and I couldn't. There was something there telling me, well, no, it's not that. No, it's not that. No, it's not that.
No.
It was like you couldn't pinpoint anything. Everything kept changing. It was very vague and changing.
Mm-hmm.
Your ideas of what you were seeing, what it could be. That's more or less what gives me the feeling that it was trying to communicate, or it was communicating to me what it wanted to communicate.
Mm-hmm. And when you said, just so I can get this straight, that you saw the light moving around to start with.
Right.
Now, a searchlight beam, well, take a flashlight, something not very bright. You really hardly see the beam, but you see the area of
no,
light
you
that
saw the
illuminates.
beam. That's what made it so easy.
Yeah.
Because the beam was very distinct. You could see where it was starting.
So you
from.
saw the
Yeah.
cone of the beam, or whatever
Right.
you want to call it.
And it was focusing low down on
Yeah.
the bottom of the building,
Uh-huh.
went up, traveled around the building,
Mhm.
changing its diameter as it was going,
Mhm.
until it finally zeroed in on a certain window,
Mhm.
and the excuse me,
Mhm.
the intensity was very strong. Just the reflection, I remember saying to myself, I hope nobody gets up in the middle of the night and comes to that window, because if they do, they'll never get out of bed. Again, that's what I said to myself. I said that would scare them to the point where they'd never get out of bed. I said it's like waking up to daylight,
Yeah.
and it's early in the morning. So I remember saying that to myself.
But you felt the lights were out. Now, you would have been looking down towards the Brooklyn Bridge. Were the big lights on the Brooklyn Bridge like this?
No, see, the Brooklyn Bridge was like actually right next to this bridge.
Yeah.
I was in a position where I was looking straight down at Knickerbocker and
Yeah.
the New York Post.
Yeah.
I'd have to turn around and really concentrate to see that.
Yeah, I actually
Brooklyn
think
Bridge.
that the Knickerbocker is closer to Manhattan.
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yeah. I would say maybe I was 2 football fields away the most.
Yeah.
In the position I was, maybe a football
Yeah.
field and a half. That still amazes me that I was so close and
Now, you know, the face of the building that they-
unable to recognize what I was seeing. I did, just let me finish on that.
Yeah.
That amazed me.
The face of the building that they came out of was, in a certain sense, the south face. I mean, the
Yeah,
down face.
facing the
Knickerbocker is like this. The Manhattan Bridge is like this, and the Brooklyn Bridge is like this. This is the way I'm thinking of it. This is the building.
right.
Post is here, Knickerbocker is like this.
Right.
Yeah. And you're
That's the
coming in
Manhattan
this way,
Bridge,
and this is
right.
the Brooklyn Bridge.
Right.
Now.
I was
where-
over here on the
Yeah,
Manhattan Bridge.
okay.
Now, I saw the light, from what you're saying,
Yeah.
it started out over here, right? Because I saw it when it was like focusing on and off the building at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then it more or less stayed on this side of the
Yeah.
building.
You see, where they came out the window was right here,
Oh,
at that end.
oh, boy. Then why
Now,
did
if
I
you were-
see, why
if
did
you
I
were-
see the light so bright on one of the windows over here?
Yeah, I don't know, but if you were further back, see, if the bridge goes like this, and you're further back, you could have seen all this, because they came out of the window and then went up. But that's not the
I
way you
don't
remember
think,
it.
I don't think I could have seen this side of the building from the bridge.
Yeah.
No, I think I had some view of this side and this side. I don't think I saw that side of anything
Yeah.
happen on this side.
That's what-
Except they obviously came from somewhere when they went up
Yeah.
there. But
Right.
I more or less remember this window here being
Yeah.
exceptionally lit up by the.
Well, I mean, maybe there's somebody else involved in it too.
Okay.
But the point is that they took, Linda came out here. And down here, underneath the FDR Drive is
Right.
where the agents were parked, so they saw it this way. The woman on the Brooklyn Bridge saw it this way.
Okay, and all the men that work at the New York Post were under the garage that's
They're
right
underneath
here.
the roof, yeah,
Right.
inside, yeah, they were indoors.
Although, speaking with one friend, he remembers a bright light that, he doesn't remember where,
Yeah.
when, or whatever, but he remembers he went right back into the building because he said it was annoying to him, and he thought the guys in the neighborhood were up to something funny.
Yeah.
It's just,
Well, you see, there have to be other people, yeah.
oh,
But that's, when you read the book, the thing that really hit you was the woman on the bridges.
yeah.
Was there anything that you read that struck you as very different than what you'd experienced?
I'm not sure what you mean.
I mean that you didn't remember it that way, that it was different than
Oh,
you
no,
remembered it.
no, I remembered it that way.
You see, the woman on the bridge and also the men, Richard and Dan, said that, didn't say anything about the light moving around in an,
Oh, no, this was scanning around.
yeah.
The beam was
Yeah,
scanning around.
so that's a detail that's different than,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah.
Because
But the fact that they didn't mention it doesn't mean that
It
it
didn't
didn't
happen.
happen.
Oh, I
that's not
understand
a-
that.
I'm not,
Because I remember saying to myself, gee, this looks kind of like a premiere, and when you see a premiere of a movie, the
Yeah.
floodlights usually go up and around and
Yeah.
down the buildings, changing shape, but that was only part of it
Yeah.
when I noticed it first. It might have been coming from the ground, but then it definitely was coming from an angle
Yeah.
where it wasn't on the ground anymore.
yeah, right.
That-
Now, when you describe the ship itself being lava-like,
only the top, only the very top,
of it, yeah. And was that from the beginning, or was that not
That
only
was
at the end?
towards the end. That was towards the end.
Yeah.
When I more or less focused up there after I saw the
Mhm.
beings and the
Yeah.
woman go into the bottom of it.
Mhm.
That's more or less when I noticed the ship,
Mhm.
but I didn't really notice it. It
Yeah.
was there,
Right.
and the only thing I could recall seeing is the glow of the red and gold on the
Yeah.
top,
Mhm.
like whipped cream on a soda or something.
Yeah. Do you remember any other color involved in it at all? You said it was the blue-white light.
Yeah, the blue-white light, but that changed shape and intensity, and it was amazing in itself that it could do so many of those technical tricks of
Yeah.
covering such a wide area
Yeah.
and then closing up to cover such a small area.
Yeah.
with
And you
such-
would see it shrink down
Yes,
to...
that's when I said to myself,
Yeah.
that's not a spotlight.
Yeah.
When I saw, I guess you'd call it the aperture change?
Yeah,
or-
yeah, right.
That's when I knew it wasn't a searchlight,
Right.
because I know searchlights can't do that.
Yeah.
And that's when I went to thinking, well, maybe it's something that they're trying, the Navy is trying in Brooklyn, and it's shining it over here to see how far they can pick it up. And that didn't make
Yeah.
sense to me, because I thought, well, they can hurt somebody with that.
Yeah.
This wasn't an ordinary light. Matter of fact, right from the beginning, I knew it wasn't an ordinary light. I thought it was a laser light right from the beginning.
And when you were looking